In this forecast, extreme flooding will be possible across portions of the United States today. Isolated rainfall totals as high as 9 inches may occur. A major pattern change will arrive next weekend, bringing some areas cooler weather. And Tropical Storm Earl may become our first major hurricane of the 2022 season. All of that and more is coming right up. Let's begin with that flooding potential for today. There is actually a moderate threat for flash flooding in northern Pennsylvania today. And again, the big concern, we've already seen a couple of inches of rain in some locations. More additional rainfall is expected. We could see some isolated locations get as much as 8 to 10 inches of rain. So big concern, especially for northern Pennsylvania. But just outside of that, there is still a slight risk for flash flooding that goes all the way from New England all the way back down through areas like the Ohio Valley into the southern Mississippi Valley. Areas like Georgia, South Carolina, all included in a little slight risk for flash flooding for today. Again, additional rainfall totals of as much as 3 to 6 inches could fall in some isolated locations this afternoon in these areas. Here's a look at the future radar for today. We will see on and off showers and storms across a large portion of the Northeast. Now, luckily, severe weather is not expected up this direction, but we very well will probably see a decent amount of rainfall. Again, areas like Connecticut, Rhode Island, and even Massachusetts could also see that potential for 3 to 6 inches of rain. Eventually, going into early Tuesday, we'll still see some ongoing showers and storms, most likely on the East Coast, closer to areas like New Jersey. And eventually, going into late Tuesday, we'll probably start to dry out in a lot of locations. They'll see a lot of rain today. So luckily, it seems like if we were to have any extreme flooding, especially in areas like northern Pennsylvania, there shouldn't be too much rain left going into tomorrow. Here's a look at the estimated rainfall totals by one computer model. Several areas, you can see even like near Harrisburg, are estimated to get close to 5 inches of rain. Now, the one concern is, again, the area that was outlined by that moderate threat. You can see the computer models are actually estimating almost 9 inches of rain in potentially an isolated location. That's the big concern today. We saw something like this yesterday in northwestern Georgia, where there was a flash flood emergency for 10 to 12 inches of rain. That's not out of the question today. So just make sure, again, don't turn around, don't drown if you're on the roadways today, especially since a lot of people will be commuting today because of Labor Day. Now, let's take a look at the southern plains, and we'll also take a look at the entire United States here in just a moment. But here's a look at our pattern as of right now. We have a stationary cold front that's actually right now ongoing. It's bringing some shower and storm activity to areas like extreme southern Texas, near Houston, and as well as even near Galveston. Other than that, we do have a low pressure system. That is our trough that's actually bringing some shower and storm activity on the back end of it, and that might bring some isolated severe weather potentially to central Texas today, with maybe a potential for some damaging winds. Otherwise, showers and storms will not really be existed across a large portion of the United States. Look at this ongoing dry sector of air that we have. It is actually an extremely large area. Also goes into the west coast, but obviously you can see in the central plains, it is dry as a bone. We're not seeing any rain today for the most part. The only area that I could maybe see a little bit of rain occurring would be basically on the back end with some isolated shower and storm activity just behind that stationary front. Otherwise, you can see the huge area of showers and storms that's already ongoing along the east coast, the northeast. Your warm front is back up here. That will be stationary today. That could even make showers and storms be even more stationary than they already are. That could also enhance that potential for some flooding potential today. Here's a look at the marginal threat for severe weather. It's only in central Texas, areas like Abilene and just south of there, with a low-end chance for some isolated damaging winds up to 65 miles per hour. $half sized hail may be possible with a storm or two, but lapse rates are going to stay pretty low today, so hail potential will also be low along with that. Here's a look at the future radar for this afternoon in Texas. Some scattered showers and storms later this afternoon into the evening hours. If any outflow boundaries do get off of these storms, then we very well could see even more storm development that could even reach areas like DFW. So keep that in mind if you're over the Metroplex. Otherwise, it will dry out going to the overnight hours for anywhere in North Texas. Now, let's take a look at the jet stream over the next several days, because we will have a pattern change coming to some portions of the United States going into this upcoming weekend. As of right now, though, let's kind of begin with today. There is a low pressure system, as mentioned before. It's kind of centered down there in the southern plains. That is also bringing that shower and storm activity to a large portion of the Northeast, all the way through the southeast of the United States. Otherwise, a huge dry sector of air is currently really ongoing across a large portion of the central United States and northern United States. We have a high pressure ridge back out in the western United States that is fairly strong, actually. Heading into later this week, though, we will begin to see a little trough come out of Canada that could bring some shower and storm activity. Here's your trough. It's going to be positively tilted, which basically means severe weather should stay on the lower end with something like this. That is typically what we see with positively tilted troughs. So some shower and storm activity will be possible, most most likely going into this weekend, probably for a large portion of the United States, anywhere from like areas like Oklahoma all the way back through areas like Michigan. Very well could see some shower and storm activity heading into this upcoming weekend. Eventually going to next week, that low pressure system will likely sit over Michigan. That will probably bring some shower and storm activity to areas like the Northeast, heading to most likely next week. By the way, heading into this upcoming Saturday, temperatures could get into the upper 30s for low temperatures, so keep this in mind. We could very well see some cooler weather in areas like the northern plains, and again, that's going to be due to that little trough that I was just mentioning. So again, big cool down potentially for some areas. Obviously, these are low temperatures. Once we get to the afternoon hours, it's going to be a bit of a different story. We're going to be talking about temperatures across the area in the upper 60s and low 70s. And to end off this forecast, I would like to talk about Tropical Storm Earl. It is not going to bring any impacts to the United States, but this is a tropical storm that is likely to become our first major hurricane of the 2022 Atlantic hurricane season. As of right now, there is a lot of convection with this system. It is strengthening. It's actually at sustained winds now of 65 miles per hour. Here's currently the National Hurricane Center's track as of right now. It is likely to go by Bermuda, so Bermuda could see some impacts going into maybe Thursday or Friday. Again, it's forecasted to be a strong hurricane by the time it's there, probably going to early Friday. Heading into Saturday, it is forecasted to become our major hurricane as a Category 3 hurricane. Some computer models have actually brought this to a Category 4 hurricane, so it will be something to watch for very closely. Again, luckily, this will not be going toward the United States. No need to panic, no need to worry. We're going to be fine as of right now. Nothing else in the tropics as of right now that should pose any threat to the United States, at least within the next 10 days, but we'll keep you updated throughout the hurricane season with the latest.